What's happening, everyone? My name is Alex and welcome back. In today's video we are checking out one of the latest e-bikes from HIMIWAY. The one that we have here today, it's called the HIMIWAY D5 Zebra. You've probably seen this online as the HIMIWAY Zebra. So you can get this bike in this version as you're seeing it right here, or there is also a step-through version available, but it's basically the same bike, but it looks a bit different. The bike has 26-inch wheels on the back and on the front, and it's also using 4-inch wide tires. So this is what's called a fat tire e-bike basically, and I absolutely love the way the bike looks with these tires. It has a very imposing figure on the road, I'm gonna say. So the bike is powered by a 750 watt motor that's located in the rear wheel. Here we also have a front suspension, and the bike is also using hydraulic disc brakes, so really good stopping power from those brakes. With that being said, let me quickly show you the box and what you have to do to get this ready and on the road. Alright, so as you'd expect, the bike comes in a pretty massive box. The bike itself is also quite heavy, so this weighs about 35 kilos, even though it does feel a bit heavier than that to me. So this is not going to be easy to carry around. So if you have to take this up the stairs, it's kind of hard because the bike is heavy. Alright, so to get this ready and on the road, you basically have to put the front wheel together, you have to put the front mud guard together, you have to put the front light together and the handlebar. Everything else is kind of assembled, so overall it's going to take you about half an hour, maybe 45 minutes to get this ready and on the road. As I mentioned before, we have 26-inch wheels on the back and of course on the front, and these are 4-inch wide tires, and these are from Kenda, so a good brand of tires as well. Now, since we have these massive wheels, of course you can easily go off-roading with this bike. If you have some rocks, if you have some curves to jump, no problem whatsoever. So this bike does good off-road as well. We also have that front suspension that I mentioned earlier. This has about 2.5 inches of travel, so of course this will definitely help, but the most comfort definitely comes from the massive wheels that we have. We also have a pretty big seat here as well. Now, this doesn't have as much padding as other e-bikes that I got to try in the past, so personally I think I would get an upgraded seat for this bike. I would get something a bit more comfortable for a longer ride, I'm gonna say. This one is good for about an hour, but after that you do feel a bit of pain behind you here. On the back here we also have a bike rack, so you can actually put some luggage on top of the bike. You can carry a bunch of things here. Personally, I don't think I would carry anything on the bike, but if you do go for longer rides, maybe that could come in handy. We also have a mud guard on the back here, so the front and the back mud guards are made out of plastic, and even though I didn't get to ride the bike in the rain because it doesn't really rain that much around here, I think they would protect you from all that splashing water. On the back here we also have a tail light. This also acts as a brake light whenever you press the brake levers, and on the front of course we have a headlight. This is bright enough to be seen during the day and very bright at night as well, so I do love the lights that we get on this bike. We also get a good brand for the hydraulic disc brakes, so whenever you're riding along you pull on these brake levers and the bike will definitely stop. So a lot of stopping power, not to mention the brakes don't actually make any noises. With a lot of other e-bikes that I tried in the past, they kind of squeak and stuff like that, but these ones are very quiet and they work really well, so really no complaints about the braking power on this bicycle. Okay, so as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the bike is powered by a 750 watt motor that's located in the rear wheel there. Now, depending where you're buying this bike, you may actually see it on the website as a 250 watt motor, but in reality it is a 750 watt motor that has a peak power of 1000 watts. On a flat surface you have a lot of power. It doesn't matter where you're going, you can always reach the top speed of the bike. Talking about the top speed, so the bike comes locked to 25 kilometers out of the box, but you can easily unlock it and you can go up to like 45 kilometers an hour. So yes, you can reach that top speed very easily. Now, since we have a shifter as well, so you can actually shift gears, plus a 750 watt motor, you can also go up hills very easily. So a lot of power to go up hills, so really no complaints at all about the power that we have with this bike. Alright, so next we have a quick hill climbing test. I have the bike in the first gear and assistance level 5. So of course I'm gonna be pedaling, but we do have a pretty steep hill ahead. As you can see, the bike is accelerating as I'm pedaling. It will start to slow down a bit now, but overall it is quite easy to go up these massive hills. With a regular bike, I don't think you can actually go up this hill. It's just too steep. But as you can see, this one does really well. So that 750 watt motor that we have with a peak power of 1000 watts definitely helps over hills like this. And I can even accelerate if I pedal a bit faster. So about 20 kilometers an hour going uphill. As for the battery pack, well, the battery pack is located underneath the bike here. There are a couple of keys that come in the box, so you can easily remove the battery pack and you don't necessarily have to charge it in the bike. You can also charge it in the bike, but you can charge it somewhere else as well. Now, the manufacturer says that you can get somewhere between 60 to 80 miles on one charge. And that may be true, but it really depends on many factors. It depends if you're going on flat roads, it depends if you're going uphill, it depends how fast you're going, if you have the bike unlocked or not. So realistically, I'm gonna say that you can get somewhere around 40 to 50 miles of range on one charge. So about 80 kilometers without worrying about the battery life on this bike. The bike has a 7-gear Shimano Shifter. Now, this is an entry-level Shimano Shifter, and out of the box, I did have to adjust it a bit. It wasn't shifting gears properly, but now it does work much better. So you may find that when you first take the bike out of the box, you will have to adjust that a bit. Again, that may not be the case with all e-bikes. Next, we are moving on to the handlebar. So first of all, the handlebar is nice and wide. Whenever you are riding, you do have plenty of space. But one small complaint that I have regarding the handlebar is the fact that it doesn't go up in height. There is no way of adjusting this so it stays a bit higher or a bit lower, so you can kind of match the natural position of your body. So whenever you are riding, you will feel that you're putting some pressure on your wrists. A lot of bikes are like this, but I do prefer the ones where I can actually sit up straight. But that's not really the case. So this one, so you will feel that you're putting a bit of pressure onto your wrists. The grips here do seem to move a bit, mostly the one on the right hand side here. On the right hand side here, we also have the throttle. So as I mentioned earlier, if you do buy this bike in the EU, the throttle here doesn't actually work. But if you're buying this bike in the US, that throttle works, so you can accelerate with the throttle. The brake levers are made out of metal, and as I said, these are hydraulic disc brakes. On the left hand side here, we have a few buttons so you can control the bike. We also have the bell, fairly loud bell as well, and in the center here we have the screen. Now, the screen can be seen in any conditions, so it doesn't matter if it's a bright day out or if it's not a bright day, you will always be able to see the screen. The screen doesn't have that much information. It basically shows you the speed, the battery that you have, your odometer, and how much power you are using. Overall, a decent screen for an e-bike, I'm gonna say. All right, so let me quickly show you how you'd use this bike. So we have the power button right here. You hold this pressed for about 3 seconds, I'm gonna say. And then the screen comes on. From here, you change assistance levels. So we'll put in assistance level 3 for this test. Here we also have the throttle, but if you have the European version, this doesn't actually work. If you do have the US version, then you can accelerate with the throttle, but this is the European version of the bike. So basically you start pedaling, and then the motor starts assisting you. This bike is equipped with a speed sensor, so you basically have to start moving before the bike starts assisting you. We'll go to assistance level 4. So this will take us to about 22 kilometers an hour. And if we go to 5, it will accelerate to about 35 kilometers an hour. But we're not gonna go that fast on this road here. I'm gonna do a quick brake test. So we'll brake somewhere around here. So you can definitely stop if you pull on those brake levers. So really good stopping power. And I also love the fact that the brakes don't actually make any noise. We'll do another brake test here. So plenty of stopping power for sure. So this is easy to ride a bike like this. Alright, so to quickly conclude this video, the HIMIWAY Zebra here is a very well built bike. I love the fact that it's very quiet, it doesn't squeak, it doesn't make any weird noises whenever you're riding. The motor is not that loud, so whenever you're riding and the motor is helping you go, you're not gonna hear that motor that well. The brakes do work really well and they're also pretty quiet. The seat could have been a bit more comfortable and the riding position could be improved if you'd be able to raise this handlebar a bit. But overall, I do like this bike quite a lot. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.